Hey, I'm PhD. Welcome to Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to answer common questions about the Bible in a fun and creative way, and I hope these videos will be helpful for your own spiritual journey in Jesus. Let's get started. How did the southern kingdom of Judah fall? During the reign of King Zedekiah, the last king of Judah, God spoke through the prophet Jeremiah to warn the nation of God's coming judgment. God told Jeremiah to make a yoke and put it around his neck. He was then instructed to tell the king, anyone who does not accept the yoke of servitude to Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon will be utterly destroyed. For Nebuchadnezzar was God's chosen instrument of judgment upon Israel. As Jeremiah continued to proclaim God's message, a false prophet by the name of Hananiah exhorted King Zedekiah to rebel against Babylon, telling him that God would break this yoke of oppression, bring back the captives, and restore the fortunes of the nation. Hananiah then took the yoke from Jeremiah's neck and broke it in two. Jeremiah responded to Hananiah's impudence by saying, "Thus saith the Lord, you have broken the wooden bars, but God will now replace them with bars of iron. And because you have spoken lies in the name of the Lord, you will be removed from the face of the earth." 2 months later, the word of the Lord proved true as Hananiah died. Still unwilling to accept God's word, Zedekiah looked to the nation of Egypt for help in defying the rule of Babylon. But Jeremiah warned, "Do not put your trust in the Egyptians, for they will retreat to Egypt, and you will be taken captive by King Nebuchadnezzar." Jeremiah was accused of treason, beaten, and put in prison, where he continued to proclaim the coming judgment of God. Sometime later, King Zedekiah had Jeremiah lowered into a well where he was left to die, but he was rescued by an Ethiopian by the name of Ebed-Melech. Jeremiah was then confined to the courtyard of the king's guard until the fall of Jerusalem. In the 9th year of the reign of Zedekiah, Nebuchadnezzar besieged the city of Jerusalem a second time, and in 586 BC, 2 years later, the Babylonians breached the walls of Jerusalem, destroyed the city, and burned the temple to the ground. Zedekiah was overtaken, bound in chains, and taken to Babylon. All but the very poor were taken from their homes and deported to Babylon, but Jeremiah was set free by the captain of the guard. This was the tragic end to the checkered history of the southern nation of Judah. For over 300 years, they wavered between some of the greatest revivals under the godliest kings to the deepest levels of depravity and idolatry. Throughout their history, God extended his grace and mercy, and he forewarned his people of the coming judgment. However, God's people stubbornly returned to their proud and rebellious ways. God is a gracious God who extends his mercy for 1,000 generations, and yet this is not a reason to take his word lightly. God's warnings of judgment are also an expression of his grace, for his desire is for all to be saved. In the case of Judah, God would not fail to fulfill everything he said, and even as Babylon besieged the city, Zedekiah foolishly persisted in his rebellion against God, and in the end, he was judged just as God warned. God, however, never leaves us without hope. Even as the judgment of God was irreversible, so too his words of promise. Even as Jeremiah was imprisoned, the word of the Lord came to him saying, "Write down these words for my people to hear. I will bring them back to this land that was promised to their ancestors. I will judge the nations that have oppressed you, and your children will return from their exile into a land of peace. I will restore your fortunes, and again there will be songs of joy and thanksgiving in the land. Tears of joy will stream down their faces, and I will lead them beside quiet streams of water. For Israel is my beloved child. There is a hope for your future. For I, the Lord, will redeem you, and this city will be rebuilt from the Kidron Valley as far as the Horse Gate. And this nation will be holy unto the Lord, and will never again be captured or destroyed." 70 years later, just as the Lord promised, all of his words were fulfilled. History has proven over and over again there is only one God, and his word is true. To all of us, his word speaks both of a coming, terrible final judgment, as well as a hope for the future, where there will be no more war, no more weeping, and peace without end. And God is continuing to this day to extend His grace, His desire that no one would perish, but everyone would choose life through His Son, Jesus. Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.